All right, we're recording.
1 + 1 don't equal 3.
So
you know
today,
what's something we haven't talked about?
I start.
But there's
start talking. I am the leader of this.
Okay, but there's something
this
we
is
haven't
my
talked
idea, and I am in charge.
Can I just
I'm
tell you
the
one
man.
thing?
I start the conversation.
Can I tell you one thing?
So for our listeners, know today
For our
is
listeners, know.
I'm going to turn off your mic.
Okay, I'm ready.
So today is Sunday, February 1st.
Happy Black History Month.
Happy Black History Month. Thank you. We'll get to that.
Yep.
We recorded an entire episode yesterday on Saturday.
Correct.
However, a certain person didn't have her mic on, so the audio was not good.
Right.
And we're not going to put out low quality things to our listeners.
That's great.
So we have to re-record today. So this is part 2.
It was a stupid podcast anyways, guys. You didn't miss anything. Now let's talk about something. Do you know that I get frequent emails to my Mary Wilkerson ym@gmail.com account from people asking to be on our podcast?
Ooh.
Like weirdos, like strangers. Like I think but they're like, I travel. I'm so sorry to hear about your dead relative. Can I help you choose schools? Like it's like crazy. It's crazy.
Hey.
It's crazy, honey. Look at that. I just wanted to share that.
But we did say from listenership, we did grow by 2 followers.
We did grow by 2
recently.
followers, which is great because we lost 2.
We lost some, we gained some. So welcome to our new followers.
You win some, you lose some.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lady that I know that writes a newsletter on Substack, and she was talking about people unsubscribing because people subscribe for newsletters and they unsubscribe. So she's talking about that. And I said, hey, if people aren't unsubscribing, then you're not saying anything worthwhile. So you got to say things. You got to speak your piece. And if people don't
literally
like
say
it
to you all the time as you try to talk about like little kid basketball for 45 minutes. Like
you gotta stop. Like you gotta stop with the naysaying. Like this is our podcast, so like we talk about what's going on. So you're always like, "Is this too much? Should we stop doing this?" Like I feel like everyone should take a drink every time you in an episode talk about how we should stop doing this or stop talking about something. Like we just do it. Like
you
we just go.
Said
this
that
is an unscripted show
because it's irrelevant. And then
I don't care though. But my point, like, who cares?
Oh,
and they unfollow.
You're not doing this for the followers.
It's like like Jesus. Jesus said his piece, and people walked away.
Right.
And he asked his followers, "Hey, are you guys going to?"
Right.
And then what does Simon Peter say?
This is an interesting bridge you're making in regards to our podcast.
What does Simon Peter say?
He says, "To whom shall we go? You have the words of everlasting life."
Except in the Chosen, it didn't work that way.
No, in the Chosen, they that whole thing up. They just decided to switch around the scripture. They were like, you know what? Different. If we put the Eucharist in, it's going to be obvious that exactly what Jesus meant. Because if anybody reads the scripture, it's very clear that he intends the Eucharist. And we need to keep people thinking that multiple denominations of whatever you want to do.
I think it was like right before he went to Jerusalem. He asked.
It was wild what they did.
He asked if they were going with him.
So basically, in the Chosen, they like removed the Eucharistic
the bread of life discourse. They didn't.
Yeah, the bread of life discourse, which is a significant discourse because at that point, that's when Jesus is like, "Yo, I actually want you to eat my physical body, and if you don't, you will not get to heaven." Like, there's no other way to read it. John 6, but then and drink my blood. So John 6. But the other thing they completely removed is Jesus giving the authority to Peter, which again, scripturally, like there's no way around it. What Jesus did.
No, he did when he renamed him. He said,
yeah, but he like said it to everybody. He's like, guys, you're the rocks. Like they did not make it as it was.
Yeah, it was a quick like. Because he answered the question.
Right. It was like very informal. Whereas the moment
he said, okay, now you're called Peter. On this rock, I'll build my church.
And whatever you held bound in heaven is bound. And whatever you hold loose in heaven is loose. Correct. I mean, those are 2 very significant scriptures in terms of the intention that Jesus had for his church post-resurrection. And so it is hilarious.
It's the prerequisite for the Last Supper. So
it is so
makes
funny.
The Last Supper make more sense.
It's just so funny what our people have to do to the mental gymnastics that you have to do to avoid the Eucharistic truth is wild.
So we were able to speak our truth, which people like to say.
Right.
And we hope that people listen and like it.
Yeah. Happy Black History Month. How are you feeling?
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had an interesting conversation.
Yeah.
I'm going to tread carefully. An interesting conversation with some students at our school about perhaps some systematic racism that exists within our community. I'm not. Listen, I'm going to
So remember, stop.
No, stop. I'm talking carefully about it. You won't.
I'm going to set this up though.
I want you to set up carefully because I'm not giving any details about.
Did we talk about the insiders? I can't remember if we talked about this on the podcast. Like we have so many things that we want to talk about, but we can't because of the vault. So
if I quit, we'll go crazy.
Yeah, until when you quit, it's open end. I'm saying until then, we talk about having like this little insider thing where like we have like this Patreon
page
where we record like Malibu Table After Hours.
It doesn't matter. People would pay $2.99 a month.
No, I'm saying we can restrict. We can decide who gets into the insiders.
It'd be like the 6 people that are our friends.
Exactly, and then that's where like the raw uncut content. We name names.
Anyway, I was talking to some students at our school. There's a couple things that I found surprising. One of them I actually can't dive into because it's a little too sensitive, but I think I can say that I was surprised that this group of students were like, people regularly use the N-word, regularly, and that white girls use it most frequently, according to this group of students. At our school and beyond. So not just at our school. I was very surprised. I've said to people, I have never heard the N-word out in the wild. I mean, I guess when I was little, maybe. But it's a crazy thing. And then they were making distinctions between it. Because I was like, yo, you guys should stop that. And they're like, it's fine as long as it's not the hard R. And I'm like, I feel like it's not fine. But then it made me think of our children and if they hear the N-word out in the wild. Because I don't, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But then this other person was talking with us, and this other person, because I was definitely talking to a group of African American students, I will make that clear. This other person was like, well, the thing is, you guys say it all the time too, so let's not act like you guys don't say it. And then it's that confusing hard line that even you take that I am conflicted with, which is within the own community, you're welcome to use it. But we don't let our kids use it.
Yeah, I don't have to explain myself to you as colonizer, oppressor, so I do what I want to.
Yeah. So. Well, we don't let our kids use the N-word.
Correct. We are careful about language.
Would you let them use the N-word?
No, there's a broader sense. So remember, there's a conversation we have with one of our sons, I'm not going to say which one, about just the problem is people take things too far. And I think that at this age, children can't, like, adults do it too, but kids, like, they just don't know the line.
Right.
So if you allow certain things, then they take it too far, and then it becomes like, well, it became offensive. Like, well, you open Pandora's box when you allow yourself to say certain things or make certain jokes. So to me, it's you got to stop it in the beginning so that it doesn't.
So I actually said that to the students. I brought that up with them because this other person who was contributing the conversation was basically being like you guys say it too, so it's confusing for kids. And I'm not excusing kids that use this word, but if in my group of friends, like the music we listen to and the language that they use regularly has that word, it is a nuanced thing. And the further we get away from like true oppression, the harder it is for kids to understand why that word is so dangerous. But I'm surprised it's used.
I don't.
do.
I think that certain groups are allowed to have. I think certain groups, certain shared experience, certain cultures can have a particular like language or vocabulary. I don't think everything has to be like I don't think everything has to be equal. I think certain groups can for example, women, like I think women talk to each other a certain
I'm
way.
Not mad about it.
I thought you were disagreeing with that. I was like, but to my point, no. I think you tell kids that I'm not going to say
no, you can tell kids. All I'm saying is that we have to educate a little bit more than maybe we had to educate when I was younger. I think kids see the word as very casual. They don't see it like we saw it. Is all I'm saying.
I'm going outside of that. I'm just saying that my thing is more about like certain people are allowed to talk a certain way. Certain things can happen. Like we don't have to explain or justify everything. It's just there's certain societal things or cultural things where
Well, what you're talking about is something like girls can call each other the B word without it being traumatic. If boys call them the B word, it could be problematic. But at the same time, the B word does not belong in the hallways of Divine Child. And in the same way, the N word, but it shouldn't. And if I hear it as a staff member, it's problematic and you're getting a detention, right? There is a reality where within your community, if you would like to use the N word, that is fine. That will not happen in my hallways, in front of me. Do you know what I mean? And I think our students know that nuance. I'm just saying, I was surprised that the reaction was this word is used all the time, because I have not heard this word used all the time. So it's interesting. And I do think our students of the African American persuasion, and you just said it, and then you went back on what you said, should be a little more careful, not a little more careful, should be aware that if they regularly use that word in communities, then some kids are not going to know.
I'm not talking about a school dynamic. I'm just saying I'm taking a broader sense. I'm not
Me
talking
too,
about
but you just said
No.
That if you, as you said to one of our kids, if you joke a little bit, people aren't going to know the line; they're going to cross it. It's the same with our.
I'm talking about I'm talking about, you're talking about talking within the group versus outside, like with people who are. I'm saying with a bunch
You're
of,
making
if you're in
zero
a group of,
sense.
if you're a group of minorities, I'm saying that's a different language. If you're a minority talking with someone who's not a minority, I'm saying
Yes,
those
yes,
are
yes,
two
yes, yes,
different
yes, yes,
things.
yes, yes.
That's what I'm
Absolutely.
saying.
Okay, yeah, agreed.
I'm saying
Agreed.
certain jokes can happen with one group. Like I joke with my friends, which sometimes are different than how I joke with my friends who are not of the Black
100%.
persuasion.
Yes,
But that's
yes,
intentional
yes,
because
yes,
then,
yes.
because some
I get what you're
people, and I've
saying.
had experience with that, people taking it too far and like, well, can't do
Well,
that
yeah,
anymore.
exactly. You
So you
just
learn your lessons of like, yep, don't do
right,
that.
right, right, right. Super interesting. So anyway, but back to African American History Month, Black History Month. Happy Black History Month
Cool.
to you, and I'm sorry for all the ways.
You should apologize every day.
I do every day of Black History
Month of
Month.
February, Mary apologizes every day.
Every day, I apologize to you. Busy
And then
week.
the funny
Oh,
thing
go
is,
ahead.
then she tries to like relate it back to like the famine somehow, and I was like, do we have to take everything back to the famine?
You're so
Could you be
wrong.
like, I'm so sorry. However, my people, da da da. And you're like, okay.
Wow, that is so wrong what you just said. So that's okay.
It's true though.
Okay,
That's
great.
only half of your story too. The other
Awesome.
half, let's not talk about the other half of your people. But
The Polish people?
yes,
Oh, you mean, are you talking about the 1 million? Actually, way more than that. I'm talking about 1 million Catholics, but if you include our Jewish brothers and
is
sisters,
that you?
the
Do you relate?
millions
Do
of
you relate?
Polish Catholic that died in World War II, is that what you're talking about?
No,
Polish Catholic and Polish Jewish? Is that what you're saying?
you're
Are
combining
you
numbers.
mocking? Are you
You're combining
actually mocking
numbers.
the Holocaust? Because
What? I'm not mocking the
it
Holocaust.
feels like
You're
maybe
taking this
that's
off
what
the
you were
reins.
doing when you were like, oh, let's not even talk about the other people. The Polish people were oppressed massively in World War II. I'm sure you're aware. There was a place called Auschwitz. Have you heard of it?
Are you connecting to the Jewish population
Not
or
to,
like
no,
the
the
Polish Catholics?
Catholics were sent to Auschwitz too. Are you kidding me? St. Maximilian Kolbe. Are you kidding me? Anyways, ignorance of history is ignorance of history.
You said the
Let's
same thing twice.
well, because the actual expression is ignorance of scripture, is ignorance of Christ. But we weren't
Either
talking about
way,
that.
so we talked. We go over our topic. So we talked about cold days. I know you were not pleased that you had to go to school Friday, because it was earlier in the week. It was trending towards
Are you going to
being
try to like
cold.
remake our whole conversation from yesterday? Because
We're
that's
gonna,
going to be problematic
we're
for
gonna go
me.
through some of it. People didn't
Okay.
hear it, so we had
All
to
right.
talk through it again.
Okay.
So last Friday, you did not have school, which you were like not pleased about it. You were naming names about who you thought were responsible for that decision.
Yeah.
And for our listeners, just for context, Dearborn called it early. Crestwood called it right after that. So traditionally,
Pause. People don't know. Just Dearborn is the city in which Divine Child is located.
Dearborn Public
Okay.
Schools. Yes,
Good.
I think they know that's like Dearborn.
Not
They know I
everybody
mean
does.
Dearborn Public
A lot
Schools.
of our listeners, honey, just so you know, are people from like my Catholic world outside of Michigan.
But when I say a city, I think people are safe to assume that when I say a city,
No.
they mean their public
Go
school
ahead.
district.
I'm ready.
So yes, Dearborn Public Schools called it, and then Crestwood called it, which traditionally, historically, 9 out of 10 times when they call it, Divine Child is right
10 out of
afterwards.
10 times since I've worked there. I
Well,
mean,
not 10
yeah,
because that'd be 100% when we broke that. So
exactly
no,
on
it's
Friday. Yeah.
so you were like, when you heard we also had a game that night, so you thought Dearborn called it, Crestwood called it, you're like going to the store, hunkering down, and then it didn't happen.
I wouldn't have even gone to the game, which by the way, I'm still going to write the athletic directors about the game that started at 8:30 at night for 6th grade students on a school night. I wouldn't have even gone to that game if I didn't think we were going to go to school. But when Dearborn called it, of course, we're all like, we are not going to school. And our school decided to still go to school. And it's probably layered. There was some talk that there was a big ICE protest. And so there was going to be a walkout. That's why Dearborn called it. Maybe our school got some inside information. But I was naming names. And I'll tell you, in terms of naming names, I will tell you that in my communities at our little school, everybody was naming the same names of people that we believe made the decision that despite the fact that Dearborn was off, Divine Child was still in session. It is what it is. It's fine.
But
It is my job. I like my job.
Yeah.
It was an easy teaching day. The thing is, I liked that St. Michael's and Livonia would just streamline. When Livonia called it, St. Mike's was off. It's just streamlining.
And I mentioned that was partly due to buses,
which is so obnoxious.
And then you went into some weird thing where you don't recall that St. Michael's used Livonia buses.
You're just so obnoxious. The bottom line is the rule in Livonia is that, or at St. Mike's, is if Livonia school, tons of schools do that, honey. It has nothing to do with buses. You're so frustrating.
I didn't say that.
What people say is that for Catholic private schools, whatever your city is, whatever city they're in, you just go with the city. It's nice and easy. It's streamlined. And so it's a way to not give people emotional whiplash thinking that they're going to have a snow day and then they don't. It was not. I actually don't think it was a nice thing to do. I think it was a bad look.
Well, thinking about that now, I think in those, because what I understand is that a lot of times when they make those calls, like all the superintendent, like a lot of the leaders of the districts are on those calls, make the decisions. So my guess is there's information that was shared about what, to your point,
that's what I think happened.
There's information about why Dearborn and why Crestwood was closing.
Right.
Where Divine Child's like, yeah, that's different than
we
like
don't need to call it, because we don't need to do that. So, which is fine.
Because also Livonia didn't, because also
nobody called it. Nobody called it except for these two
They didn't call it. Yes. So I think that's my point to you. Yeah, I think there's other things going on.
Sure.
And Divine Child's like, yeah, we don't need to.
I'm positive because honestly, if the people didn't look, I mean, these were the only 2 districts off. There's like a map that shows colored, and everybody else went to school, so it's fine. But it was hard to think that you were going to have the day off for like a solid hour, then to get a text message from someone from our community that you think is going to say,
"Oh yeah,
snow day, don't come to school," and instead it says dress warm, like. It just is bad. I don't like it.
Can I say I love it when it says dress warm? Because kind of like, I know it's cold, but suck it up for school.
I do not. It's so layered for me. I don't like it, but it's fine. School was great. So,
well, also last Monday there was a cold day last Monday.
Yeah, it's been great. No, I think that was a snow day for the snow. Yeah, that was a snow day.
I get confused. The previous Sunday. Friday and Monday, one was a snow day, one was a cold day. I get them all confused.
I mean, we've had 3 days off. It's been awesome. I just love snow days so much.
So I think we talked about last Monday. Like someone I work with who lives in Wisconsin, like they have what is called asynchronous learning, where if there is a day off school, the teachers reach out to the students and says, "Hey, this is asynchronous day, so you're going to look at your virtual learning plan or whatever website." We were saying like that could be an option. It's mainly for the high school, grade school, I think would be tricky, but for the high school, we know with our oldest that he has an iPad, they don't have books, everything's digital, so they communicate via all these different channels. So I feel like that is a valid option for high school to say, hey, you're home today, but look at these lessons. Like, here's your coursework, and you still can do things at home. Like,
right.
Like, I mean, for private school, I feel like that should be an option to think about.
At first, I thought that was dumb. Like, I'm like, let kids have snow days. The challenge is, though, as much as I love a snow day, and this is a distinction that people like you can't handle, and like everybody else that's like, go to work. As much as I love a snow day, I think these snow days are ridiculous. The softening of our society is crazy. I told you, it wasn't this week, the week before, there was 1 inch of snow on the ground. And my students actually came into class like upset. They're like, this was so unsafe. I can't believe they made us go to school today. Mrs. Wilkerson, I saw cars fishtailing. Like, you wouldn't believe it. And they were like dead serious.
They're bad drivers.
The challenge is we have created such a soft society. It's very layered. And so I think snow days were cute. Like when I was growing up, it was fun because it was 1, maybe 2.
And it was like almost a foot of snow.
Yeah,
it wasn't
and it
like
was like
inches.
Rare. But now, and I don't blame anybody for it. I get why we have to have snow days all the time. Everybody's too happy. Kids don't know how to be functional. Kids don't even leave their houses anymore. Like nobody goes and plays in the snow. Our kids are legit the only kids that go out and play in the snow in our whole neighborhood. I have never seen anybody else at that park in a snow day.
And 2 points. One is someone that has parents, like if you look on Facebook when they call it, or if they say we're going to school,
almost all of it.
A lot of the parents would be like, even if there is school, I'm going to leave my kids home today. They shouldn't have to go out in the cold today, and they shouldn't have to do these things. Yeah. But it's funny because these would be the same people where they'll order like DoorDash or get food delivery. It's like you understand that like people had to drive in these conditions to go to work. To make the food, to get it delivered to your house.
Right.
So it's like your kids are exempt from it, but everyone else still the world still needs to move on. You still expect electricity in your house. Like you expect all these things.
So my greater point though is that with your virtual learning, like the virtual learning probably does make sense in a world where kids are getting 10 snow days a season because God forbid sweet Jimmy goes outside when it's cold out. Do you know what I mean? Or when there's an inch of snow on the ground. And then we just continue to perpetuate a cycle where our young people are full of anxiety because they can't face the smallest of challenges with resilience.
Well, and the frequency, to your point, if there's one or two because of crazy snow, I get that. But we're already at what 3 or 4, and it's only January. We still have the month of February.
Yeah, I don't think we've been
It snows
excessive.
in February, and it also snows in March.
I don't think we've been excessive. There's other districts that have. There's other districts that have used all their days already.
I'm saying if the trend continues where you have another 3 or 4 days off, then at a certain point, like, but these kids still gotta go to school.
Yeah, we'll see. So
yeah, I think something to consider. Virtual learning options. I mean, it's like I said, not the grade school. I think like grade school is a little more complicated, but I feel like for the high school, because it's already fully digital, to me, doesn't seem like a big thing to be like, review these things and here's a quick quiz or like an assignment.
Well, it's like sub work. It's so easy to leave sub work for kids when you're not there. So anyway, we had a lot of basketball this week. We talked, I don't want to like talk about basketball. I will say some highlights in the conversation we had yesterday when our mics weren't on. One of them is you helped me to really understand our oldest team. And I've really felt good about it, actually. So our oldest team is undefeated in the district, which I think, not undefeated, I'm sorry, district champs. And I think that it shows that our coach is really great. Like, I really like our coach, actually. I do. I like our coach for the freshman team. I think he's doing a good job. I think there's a lot of talent, but there's 15 kids. One thing that's been really frustrating to me, and it reached a crescendo this week, is that our son is not a great shooter, but I think is the best defensive player on the team. And so it has been frustrating to me that when we're far down, the coach either pulls Aaron or doesn't play Aaron. Like, I haven't understood it. Like, I'm like, so this week we lost by, I think, like 20 to 25 points, and Aaron only played a couple minutes. No, that's a lie. Aaron plays like half the game. But when he was put in when we were way behind, he had stopped the bleeding because he just does so many turnovers. Aaron's so good at that. And then the coach put him on the bench. And I'm like, why are you putting him on the bench? And I was so frustrated. And when we got in the car, I said to little Aaron, I'm like, you need to go talk to your coach to figure out what's going on. Like, when you're doing so good and then you're being put on the bench and other people are playing the whole game, I'm not understanding. And a couple things with that. But you ended up saying in our podcast yesterday that the coach doesn't have an assistant coach. So he's watching the game live. Like, there's only so many things you can do. Aaron's not shooting. They need shooters. And so it just makes sense. Perhaps it's not like our son is doing something wrong, but that the coach is just trying to manage a game with a lot of kids.
Yeah, it could be a game. It could be a thing of, hey, we need shots, we need points. I need to put in my guys who can give me buckets.
Right.
Also, yeah, I brought the assistant coach because I think I mentioned, like, in my brief 1 month of coaching, like when you're intense in the game, you're thinking about like the game plan. You also have 10 people on the bench, so I think it's very difficult trying to manage minutes.
He's got 15 on the bench. Yeah.
No, he's got 15 total on the kit.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Total. Yeah, okay, sorry.
So you got 10 kids on the bench, and you're not thinking about like, well, what about this? Like, I think you're thinking about like, well, game plan, things like that. So I think that's where I think assistant coaches can help to be like, hey, like, who should we put in, or what about this person? Because if it's only you're not like, you're not running all these scenarios because it's very difficult to do that.
Right.
I've had a situation once during the tournament I mentioned where I had someone sitting on the bench for like 90% of a quarter. It wasn't intentional; just I totally forgot, and I was into the game. So I think that's where I think an assistant coach is plural, could be like, okay, what about this person? And you forgot this thing. It's like, oh yeah, you're totally right about that.
Right.
So I don't think it's an intentional thing. I think it's just that he has a game plan in mind. I'm assuming there's a game plan. He's like trying to execute that. He's not thinking.
And he's doing a great job, right? That's the other thing, is that like the team's winning. So like, I get that. Yeah, it's funny. I'm glad you gave me that perspective though, because I will say, like, I don't think I'm like a huge whiner about playtime. Like with football, for instance, with our kids, I'm like, get better. Like, that's my get better. But because he's doing so well defensively, I'm like, I don't understand.
We need points though.
You need points. No, I understand. Yeah, but you also need them to stop scoring. Do you know what I mean? And so,
well, you tell your other guys who like, you got to play defense.
But nobody plays defense like Aaron does. I'm not being weird. Like, he's really, really good defensively. I mean, that is his only strength, right?
But I think a better question is now. I think the better question, off the top of my head, is more like, hey, like, coach, when this is happening, like, what's the like game plan? Like, hey, what are we thinking about, and what's the game plan? Like, how does he fit into that? Not just like, hey, why am I not in the game?
Yeah.
It's like, what's going on, and how could I fit into that, versus like, why am I not getting minutes, coach? It's like, well,
it's funny, that leads to the second question though, because when we got in the car and I was frustrated. I was like, I don't understand. And it's layered. Our schools, I just have some layers with like in groups and outside groups and how you move in our school. It's like this community of people that have all known each other since they were 3. And like, so for me, it gets a little too layered, actually. I take things personally, you know? So we get in the car and I was talking to Aaron. I was like, I think you need to talk to your coach. And basically he's like, I don't want to do that. And it made me think of this other thing that I had seen that I referenced with you yesterday, which is as parents, when it comes to athletics, you can't want it more than your kids. And if they don't want it, they're speaking a language to tell you they don't want it. So it made me think a little, Aaron, when it comes to like his missing assignments and his grades on his tests and being like, I'm not going to talk to my coach. Like, I don't want to figure this out. Like there is a outside shot that I want his success in basketball more than he wants his success in basketball.
Times.
Yeah.
When I'm like, bro, if he's not turning his assignments in,
he doesn't want to go to basketball. We made it very clear
that if you have missed assignments, you're going to miss a game.
Right.
If someone who's passionate about it, they will make that connection. It'll happen one time. We're like, oh, I forgot one time. Yep. But yes, if they want it bad enough, like think about like Fortnite and all these stupid games they play, and how many hours they put into these games. Like if they want that enough, they will make the effort or the attempt to make sure.
But it's an interesting thing as a parent, and I think I'm different than you in this way. Like I love watching our kids compete. Like it's so fun for me. And sometimes I think that line gets a little bit blurry for me. Like again, like if I'm wanting it more than you, in assignments is perfect. Like, you know, the expectations. So if you don't turn in an assignment, you know, you're not going to practice. And I'm at home crying as he's missing a practice because I feel so bad. Like, I think that's going to stop.
That's what I said to you. I was like, why are you so upset about this?
Right.
If he doesn't want it, like then he doesn't go to practice. Like also like, I think like these are all extracurricular.
And by the way, he does want it. He just putting the effort in is what he's learning. Yeah.
That's how you learn. And I think that's the story so far in the first year high school is that this is different. Like you have to put effort in.
Yeah.
Like we can't want for this more than you. Like we're not pushing you to do this. Like these are all extracurricular activities, which means if you're not interested, then we don't have to do this. Right. Like no one's forced. Like
this on that line, though, I mean, we have been because we've talked a little bit about his grades, and we have to be careful about how much we talk about him on this podcast, to be honest. But his grades have improved considerably since he dropped some honors courses. Like I'm very excited about where we're trending academically. He was pulling a really heavy load for a kid that is not naturally gifted with like an academic something. Like there's 2 types of kids, right? And you were the second type of kid. You were able to get good grades with work, of course, but not killing yourself work. And there's other kids that have to really work if they're going to take advanced classes. He is the other kind of kid, and he was unwilling to put in the extra effort. And so I think we've balanced out. We left him with 2 honors classes. He dropped 2 honors classes.
And also, I think it's par for the course. I don't think it's anything specific to him. I think it's what a 14 or 15-year-old kid does.
Yeah.
That's how you learn. Like, just putting your hand on a hot stove. Like you test things, you figure out if your parents are serious, and that's what's like. Hey, we have to hold the line and say if there's if there's assignments missed, you're not going to practice. But if you've been consistent around, hey, tell your coach you're not going to practice because you missed an assignment. Boom. Like that's how I was thinking
even today because I worry so much about him. Like I just worry about all our kids. It's so hard to be a parent for me. You don't give it. I am like overwhelmed by how hard it is. Like I put so much weight on every decision that I make, and like, am I screwing him up? And is he going to be able to get to heaven and all this stuff? All our kids, right? But he's only 14. Like I forget that sometimes. 14 is still more little boy than young man. Like you're still figuring out, you know what I mean? And so that checked me too.
Well, it's teachable moments.
Right.
Like
and he's learning,
We're in the age of everything. Like when they're 10, or like when they get up to, I think 13, it's fine. But now it's all teachable moments of trying to be like, hey, like here's a learning lesson, or here's another teachable moment. Like if you don't do this, this doesn't happen. Like it's the input output of if you put in lackluster input, you get a lackluster output.
Right.
Before we subsidize that where they can put a little bit, but we subsidize that. But now I would say if you don't do a lot, then you're not going to get a lot.
Right.
Like which life do you want? Like
what do you want? Yeah, like what life do you want is a great question. I keep saying that to him. Then we moved on to the 8:30 p.m. start time for 6th graders. I am still so furious about that. Like,
but here's the silver lining. The silver lining was yesterday, Saturday, we had nothing going on because they schedule all those games
during the week,
Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday.
That's great. No 6th graders should be playing basketball until 9:40 at night. Like that's crazy.
I would agree.
I will be shooting an email. I need to craft it today. Just a gentle one being like, hey, we should rethink this. Like, and what happened was the game was supposed to be at 8.
Like 10 o'clock.
Right. That's crazy.
Which means they go to bed at like 10:30.
That's crazy. Like, what are we doing? So I think the game was supposed to start at 8. They got delayed, but also like we know games are going to get delayed. Like you shouldn't be starting a 6th grade game at 8 o'clock at night. So John Paul, again, the only reason I went to his game was because I thought we were going to have a snow day, and we didn't. John Paul's team, we talked about. I mean, we don't have to belabor. It is not a fun team. They are not a kind team to each other. It's everybody is at fault. It's not like it's one of those things where if somebody shoots and misses it, like the other 3 or 4 guys on the team be like, "What's wrong with you?" So their whole vibe stinks. And the scores at the end of the game are showing that. So.
Yeah, they're on a little bit of a losing streak.
A little bit. It's been a hard season.
I don't think they've won a game since the tournament.
No, it's been a hard season. I feel bad for the coaches. It's not their. It's like the combination of
the kids. Are like the thing is like because we played against teams that are not very talented. And you're like, okay, this is gonna lose. But his team, like they have talent. Like there's something there, but it's not gelling. It's not meshing.
Yeah.
And so it's like when they play St. Fabian was just obviously just a better team. Like that was a better team. But these other teams, like, yeah, you guys could have won that game.
They're like mellow, like they're not even excited. But I think the reason they're not excited when they're playing is because they're like they know that their other friends are going to yell at them, and it's just the whole vibe is off. The whole vibe is off. So their games are not fun to watch. Whereas the opposite of that would be Malia's game, which was Friday night. And I will tell you that whereas John Paul's team is just full of like negativity, I'm not loving it. Mia's team is the cutest team literally in the universe. The way they cheer for each other, the excitement that they have for each other. They're girls, so they have some drama. And Friday's game was awesome. You won 12-1, right?
Yeah, it was 12-1. I think 5 or 6. I think 5 of the girls scored. So we had 8 girls. So 2 weren't there. We had 8 girls. Now they 8, 5 of them had scored, which is amazing. Which is the first time that's happened.
And it's amazing for these little girls. There was one girl who I just think was struggling a little bit. And, they're all learning a new sport. And this sweet girl hit a bucket, and like the joy on her face when she turned around and looked at her mom and dad, like it was awesome. So that was a super fun game to watch. Again, it's like the total opposite of anything because it's everybody's cheering for each other. They want each other's success. Yeah. They're, I think our daughter, I think she felt some type of way because she's been really getting all the buckets or most of the buckets. And so she had to learn, but she wants the success in other kids for sure. You know what I mean? But I think she also kind of likes that she's the all-star. But it was cute. You coached my love.
They support each other.
Yeah.
I mean, when we first had the first practice, I never thought they win the game. But they've developed even like from the last game to yesterday or Friday. You can see things are clicking. So it's interesting seeing like things are clicking with this group. Like they're picking up on concepts. Yeah, it's been a fun season so far. We got 2 games left. We got a home game, our last home game next Saturday,
and then we're playing our arch nemesis on Ash Wednesday.
On Ash, yes, we found out Ash Wednesday. We are playing our last game, and we could potentially win the division, but it'll be a little bit difficult because of tiebreaker.
It's going to be real difficult because they beat you like 20-3, I think we said. And so in order to win the division, you not only would need to beat a team that beat you 20-3, but you would need to beat that team by 20 points.
Yeah. It's
now,
tough.
That said,
I'm fine with the tie, though. I'm fine. If we tie, then I'll be fine with that.
Well, the other thing is, I do think if you guys are all playing in sync, Mia was not there at the game that they lost. And I'm not saying Mia's a rock star, but I am saying Mia makes buckets. Like, she's very good at that. And so, show out and show up, guys. February 18th, Our Lady of Victory.
4th grade.
Show up and show out. Basketball. I'm going to make one of those big cardboard heads and be like, But the only thing I said to you, I hope they're not a jerk team. Like, I didn't see them play. I feel like maybe there was like a little reference that maybe there was some, like when you win 20-3 in 4th grade basketball, it could indicate that coaches are not pulling back when they should. So like when we've gotten really high in scores, you, for instance, pull me out of the game, you stop running the score. Like, so it'll be interesting to see how this game goes. Yeah, hopefully it's not like the one game where I had to evil eye the 4th grader.
Yeah, good way to kick off Lent.
Yeah,
sure.
Brother. Speaking of, I'm excited. 2 weeks till Lent.
Yes.
I love Lent. And then, you know what I realized this morning on the way to church? We were talking about Lent. And it is really cool, I think, that we are going to leave for our family vacation Good Friday at like 8 o'clock at night. We're going to hop on airplanes because I think we're going to be able to celebrate Easter in like the coolest way. It's like a big time celebration. So I'm going to, what I'm saying is
the coolest. What's the coolest way?
Disney. The coolest, Coolest.
Well, we won't be at the parks. We'll be driving to Fort Lauderdale.
No, I mean, well, Easter's 8 days. I'm sure you know this. The octave of
I thought
Easter.
you meant Easter Sunday.
No. I mean, like,
Sorry,
I really want to
Easter Sunday.
sacrifice hard during Lent and
Yes, I
then
thought
really
that too.
live that Easter like on this cruise.
Yes, I thought that was. I thought that was a good. Well, this year's. Yeah, you go through a tough Lent, but on the other side,
so we should really help each other. And you're far better at accepting sacrifices than me. I don't like to accept sacrifices. I mean, we're supposed. Like I'm like
shocking.
I'm like dry January, but wait, there's a snow day.
Yeah, well,
dry January,
you lean into exceptions.
Like I lean into
yours
exceptions.
Is like, I'm going to give this up, except for St. Patrick's Day.
It's true.
A random Saturday. Yeah. Someone's coming to my house today.
Sabaoth, I do.
You like to come up with different reasons and exclusions and exceptions.
I know it's really it's a problem. I need to work.
And everything becomes the biggest day of the year. Like this is the biggest day of the year. This is my favorite day of the year.
Yes. I'm not disagreeing with you. All of that is
that's
true.
The challenge. Is just the leaning.
Like even if I do
things.
give up grown-up drinks for February or for Lent, I'm going to be like, unless there's a snow day
or St. Patrick's
Day or the Sabaoths. I need to work on that. I'm a work in progress. What else?
We need to talk about NIL.
Oh my gosh, I'm so offended by this.
We feel differently about NIL.
I'm going to have a hard time talking about it because I don't like you.
So I will start. So
oh man, we disagree so much on this.
So the MHSAA, so Michigan High School Athletic Association, I don't know if it's court order. They decided, like, essentially, they allowed for name, image, and likeness rules in high school athletics. The difference is, like, schools can't pay players, and schools cannot arrange, or officially, schools cannot arrange for these deals to happen, right? So if I'm a car dealership, I want to put a high school player on my billboard to advertise. The school is not arranging it. That's between that athlete and that entity. So you can pay a player for name, image, and likeness, and they already done this with camps, right? They already said high school kids can do their own camps and things like that. But I think they're setting up these new arrangements. There's some nuances though that's different than college, right? Because these are minors, so it depends. Some you have some.
Do you guys like that? I'm just letting him talk because I'm so offended
some
by
kids.
This.
Most of these kids are not 18 yet, so these are minors, which means the parents have to be way more involved because minors can't sign contracts. But I think there's some potential for weirdness because the tricky part with high school athletics is the college is different because college has their own TV for the most part. So you have TV contracts. There's advertisement dollars. They're selling jerseys. So the money around college athletics is much different than the money around high school athletics.
Because colleges, and this is the reason that eventually I swayed towards NIL for college, which I still don't love, to be honest, is because people are making money off of these kids. Big time money off. Millions of dollars off of these kids.
You walk into the thing, you see your jersey being sold for $100.
Right, and you're
not making a penny.
And your name's on the back of it.
Your name's on your numbers on the back
of
it.
That is not the case for a 13-year-old. Keep going.
Well, that's what I think in high school, the NIL deal is more about potential because unless you were a star quarterback your freshman year, you won multiple state champion or star basketball player, you won multiple state championships. So by your senior year, you have created a brand and a success and you want to make money off that. I think that's fine. But if you're an 8th grader who has potential, hasn't done anything, you're going to 9th grade, that's when you're well, what are we paying for? The kids hasn't done jack squat yet. So I think there's a potential positive. I think people should make money off of the fruits of their labor. But I think adults always mess it up and it gets very screwy, and that's when it kind of falls apart.
So funny. We have a family at Divine Child of really stellar athletes. One of them is already gone D1. They're stellar athletes, and one of them is my student. So I ended up pulling him aside and being like, what is your take on this? And he's somebody that has the potential to actually make money off of this. So of course he's I think it's awesome, right? And I totally understand that. He's from a good, solid family. He's 16, 17 years old. He has really dedicated his life and discipline to the sport, which, by the way, I have complicated feelings on. But so he's this is, and I was okay, I understand that you're psyched about it. But you can objectively admit this is not great for kids. It is not great. The word I used is, it has the potential to prostitute children for money, selling kids athletic bodies, right? Their potential for money. So there's a kid in the Detroit metro area who I don't know this kid. I don't know what he looks like, but I have heard his name for 4 years. He's like a really good basketball player. Many high schools wanted him to go there. He's a kid all of our kids know. And like this kid is 13 years old. People are going to start pouring money into him as a 13-year-old. And I'm like, I actually don't think that's good for a 13-year-old. I don't think it's good for his psyche. I don't think it's good for his potential, right? Like his avenues. Sometimes I think we make these kids like little machines. And I just think it's a bummer. I think it's a bummer.
The devil's in the details of what they're signing. If you're saying that you're signing this kid to a lifelong contract where you're going to take 10% of his NIL money in college and like an athletic, like it's like these, I think a lot of it's in the details of the contract what they're signing up for. If you're like, hey, like I want to put you in an ad for my business, I want to do that, something small, I think that's fine. But it's the perpetuity of like, well, essentially I own you for the rest of your career and I signed you up. But also the parent, but these are also minors. So like the parents have to be involved.
Do you know what I just thought about that we did not?
So to me, it's more about the details of what they're signing up for. And it would be bad if you're like, I'm signing this kid the rest of your life. I own you in college. I'm taking 50% of this. I'm taking 100% of that. Like I own you. Like that's the part where it can get bad. But if it's like, this kid is done for you, because also the schools are making money. Like the schools make a little bit of money in terms of like ticket sales go up. They do sell more merch. Like the schools are benefiting from it, but not to a substantial amount. Like college is a different world.
Do you know what I just thought about in my self-righteousness over this particular thing, which I think is really bad for kids? I just thought about like, what is the difference between this and like paying child actors or child singers? Well, Taylor Swift at 13 years old.
Like I said that to you.
Yeah, I said, I don't remember you saying that to me.
Like if a teenager wants to make money, like if they want to get
a job.
No, but I'm saying
like we allow it. Like we allow kids to be on TV where they have agents and they're paid $1 million, $2 million. But again, I think we see that for the great majority of these kids, it is not good for them. We see the 28-year-old loser, right, who was never able to recover from being in holes when he was younger.
And all of his bad contracts, right? If you think about the group, the group New Edition, it's known that their first check was like pennies because the record label took advantage of like all these.
Taylor Swift, that was the whole thing. She had to buy back her whole, she lost her whole catalog
because she didn't have publishing rights.
But it's interesting because that's exactly what you're talking about, right? Like, so I guess what's fair about it is, I guess like you can't be like, I'm going to go see a movie with a 13-year-old in it who's being paid, and I have no issue with that, but I'm going to have an issue with potential D1 athlete being paid. That is an interesting thing.
And at least these athletes go to school. I mean, these child actors, like these kids don't go to school.
It's an interesting
they have tutors and things like that.
It's an interesting thing. Yeah, that's fascinating. I never thought about that till now. Like we actually do this in our culture all the time to kids.
And it happens all the time. Hey, like casting calls. Like, hey, does your kid want to be a model? Like child models? Did your kid want to model? Did your kid want to be an actor? Explain this movie. That people will rush their kids down there.
It's interesting. Yeah, it's an interesting,
and that's gonna be way more money.
Yeah, that's interesting to think about
with high school athletics.
Right, that's an interesting, and maybe that was some of the, because that's what I said to this kid that I was talking to him. Like, I don't understand the reasoning. Like, I don't understand why anybody thinks that it's good for kids. The other thing he said, which I did think was super interesting, is he said, Mrs. Wilkerson, other states are doing it. If we don't do it, our athletes just go to other states. So, like, you just move from Michigan. If you're really good at football, you move to Texas where you're going to be paid when you can't be paid in Michigan. So he's like, part of the reason Michigan went for it is to even the playing ground. Like if states are already doing it, you don't want to have your state not paying kids because the kids just leave your state. I just thought that was interesting too.
Well, and there's also stories about some of these travel teams or AAU teams where like someone sponsors the team. Really, to essentially someone sponsoring a team, the team is kind of thrown together because they have one star player. And just find other players, and like that one player is getting a lot more benefits. Than the, so I would say there is some, some things going on in other sports and other avenues.
But
to me, it's about, I think the bigger thing I think is for the parents, like those child actors you talk about, like the ones that didn't go bad is because they had good parents.
They had good parents.
They had parents that like either didn't steal their money, set them up for success.
Right.
So I think I think it makes it harder. It's harder for parents. I think it pushes and makes it way harder for parents.
The kid I was talking to's parents are wildly involved and like You know what I mean? Like, these kids are very good. This family's
Yeah.
like, the kids are very good kids. They're like nice, kind, hardworking, like good kids. But they have been raised to be like athletic machines. You know what I mean? So it's an
If that's their,
interesting.
but go back to
They
the
love it.
passion
Yeah.
though. Like it
I'm
goes
not
back to
judging
the
it. I'm
thing
just saying,
of
like,
if that's their passion, if like
yeah.
they want to do that, and it's
Right.
like, hey,
Right.
we'll support you. You go all in,
Right.
not at the sacrifice of other things. But I
Good.
think
Yeah.
related to our conversation previous week about social media, I just think that I won't say it's hard to be. I think there's more things you have to be aware of in terms of parenting. Now you have these dynamics, you have other dynamics. There's so much stuff that I think parents have to be aware of
Right.
that it's not an easy road. Like
Right.
you have technology, social media, you have all these different digital devices. Now you have dynamics of sports. If your child's in athletics, like it's a lot more things that parents have
Entitlement,
to
softness. I mean,
contend.
we're in a really interesting.
Parents have to contend with a lot.
Yeah.
Because there's so many options. I think it's more not that it's harder. It's just that there's more options. There's much more landmines that you have to navigate.
Yeah, it was. It's all very interesting. I don't have anything to contribute to that. There was another conversation I had seen. There was a person on our city page, Livonia, who has a kid that's like really smart and really academically driven, and the mom was like, we can't afford college for him though, and they're not going to be able to get full scholarships. What should we do? And all these people are commenting and being like, yeah, like what you can do is go to Schoolcraft for free for 2 years, like our community college. Like that's actually what you do. You go to college for free. And I was thinking about that with our kids too.
Or take
like
a gap year and save up.
Yeah, money. Or take a gap year. It's going to be because we are wildly close to those type of decisions and that type of guidance, which is going to feel way more intense than where we're at right now. And where we're at right now already feels so intense to me. So it's wild, my love. It's wild.
Well, I won't say it's hard. I think it's more your brain. Like you have to consider much more.
Oh, it's harder now. I think it was simpler. It was simpler. Not necessarily for. Yeah, it was simpler. We're in a very hard season of parenting of culture. I think it was easier for our parents to parent us. I do think that, and that I think the amount of things, and I've had lots of parents say that to me. Like, I'm just so glad I didn't have to parent like you have to parent.
See, but they didn't. They had to deal with the unknowns, though. Like, but they tended with unknowns that they didn't find out till later on. So they wish they could go back and change things.
Right, that's true.
They didn't know that all these things were happening.
That's true.
Like, oh shoot, we really screwed up.
That's true.
Really screwed up.
Yeah.
But we know the thing is we know more now, so we have to contend with that because we know more from our parents. That now you have to consider like, well, this happened. Like you have all these stories and information of like, well, this happened and that happened and that happened.
Right.
But I think they wish they knew what we knew.
Yeah. All right. Upcoming, Joey has this confirmation this week, which has snuck up on all of us.
We are not prepared.
We are not prepared. The confirmation rehearsal is tomorrow night. One of us has to remember that because we need to remember that. Confirmation is this week. What else is this week? More basketball. Basketball confirmation. Yeah. I think that's it, right?
Yeah, it's usually just basketball. Plays over.
Yeah. I have a talk today that I have to do.
Talking about friendships.
Yes, talking about friendships. I was very excited. I was very excited because it is a talk that I've given before. I thought I had to write it from scratch, and I obviously tweak it and update it, but it is far easier to give a talk that I've given before. And so I had talked to you yesterday when we recorded that I had a couple other parishes reach out to ask if I would be willing to come and speak to them in Advent. And I just have such a torn heart when it comes to the fact that I feel like the Lord has blessed me with an ability to talk to women about faith, women especially about faith. But then I also have this full-time job and 5 kids. And so I think I'm going to be saying no to the parishes that are reaching out, even though I love it. And that's hard to do. It's hard to do when you love a ministry, but you're like, when it actually comes.
Can I get back to you later? Like, I'll get back to you.
Yeah. Because do you think you're going to make enough money that I can quit teaching next year and then I can do all the talks?
I don't want that pressure.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I don't ever want to quit my job. Oh. I want to work forever. I do like working.
By the way, this is episode 75.
Look at us. 75.
75.
What is the 75th anniversary?
I don't think it's anything.
I think it's something. Yeah.
I think you get 25, 50, and then it just kind of goes to 100.
I don't know. I think it's maybe something. You should have bought me a present.
Why would I buy you a present?
Because I agreed to do this podcast with you.
So we say episode 100 will be during the summer, potentially while the kids are away at camp.
So maybe we'll do a patio party. Chris Cowell said he's flying in.
So we got to figure out the numbers around how many people.
Right.
There's going to be be limited. It won't be our full follower.
Bro, I like how you act like if we were to open it up
we
to
have
our
80 followers. So even if you say 50%, that's still like 40 people.
So what? I'll get some subs,
We'll see. But yeah, stay tuned about our 100th episode
extravaganza for our tens of listeners. I love it. All right. Have a great week.
Until next time.